And I, Police Chief Lawrence Law, have narrowed down my investigation to 6 prime suspects. They are listed in the letter you received from me, and I brought them here so that you can hear their testimonies and question them to identify the murderer. Let me introduce them to you, then we'll listen to what they have to say. First, here's someone who calls himself the premier Elvis impersonator in Vegas. That would be you, Preston Ellis.
Everybody, let's rock! The king is in the house.
Whoa, later, Ellis, later. The city is filled with show people like Preston Ellis, and one of them used to make headlines on the strip. Meet Mitzi Monroe.
What do you mean used to? I still make headlines, Chief. Well, the headlines are just a little smaller than they used to be.
Could it be because Fanny's Show Lounge is just a little smaller than the Labaccio?
Yeah, that might have something to do with it.
Well, the Labaccio used to be one of the favorite haunts of this suspect. Here's Wild Bill Billions.
Howdy, you all. That's right. They like to have celebrities like me around. But some things have changed.
Well, our next suspect knows all about that, Billions. She deals blackjack and knows who's a winner and who's a loser. Join us, Deborah Down.
Every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser. And no one knows which one it is until I deal the cards.
And it's the losers that this suspect sees most of the time at his pawn shop. That would be Jess Pawnit.
Yeah, well, some people just come in to get a little extra cash. What they do with it is entirely up to them. You know, you'd be amazed at what you'll find in the Pawn Palace.
Well, not many people arrive at the pawn shop in a limo, but there are probably a few. And some of them hire this suspect, limo driver Lisa Ride.
I'm the ride of choice for many people because I'm not the type to drive and tell.
And these individuals are the prime suspects. Now, listen closely to what they have to say. Preston Ellis, we'll start with you.
I always say, don't be cruel to any living thing, even if it's nothing but a hound dog. I know you're all here have suspicious minds. That's all right, pretty mama, because someone here is a devil in disguise.
This is no performance, Ellis. It's a criminal investigation. You need to take this seriously.
Only fools rush into something like this, Chief.
Are you ready?
Oh, no, not yet.
Wait a minute, hold on. You've been a performer here in Las Vegas for a long time and have seen a lot of people come and go.
You never know who you'll see in the streets here in Vegas. Some people even pretend to be someone else. Not that I know anything about that.
You tell him, Preston. You're the best.
Harold was a customer at Fanny's Show Lounge, where I performed nightly. Ha! He didn't look like much with that long hair and scraggly beard, but he stayed for the entire show. Mitzi's dance number was right before I end things with a stirring rendition of the green, green grass of home. Yes, the whole come to see me.
Harold, tell us about Harold.
Of that whole oak tree. What's that?
Tell us about Harold.
I was getting to that. If you ask around, and I know you will, you'll find out that a lot of people knew about Harold. He'd appear at night and disappear before dawn. Nobody knew what he did the rest of the time. As for me, I'll always let you know when I'm around. My fans have been following me for years, ever since I was a star at the Labaccio. Wasn't all that long ago. Do your job, Chief, and somebody here will soon be making the jailhouse rock. So, viva Las Vegas! I do. Thank you very much. And Preston has left the stage.
Oh, well. Well, Mitzi Monroe, you and Preston are the stellar attractions at Fanny's Show Lounge.
Mm-hmm. Preston's a good friend, but he wasn't the real star when we both played the Labaccio. I'm sure you'll remember that 15 years ago, my picture was on all of the billboards and taxis here in Vegas.
Your costumes are fabulous, Mitzi.
Thank you. Yep. Well, that was before the Labaccio and the Sphinx were bought by that billionaire. I left town for a while, but now I'm back and better than ever. Stop at the Show Lounge. You'll see I haven't lost a step.
And what about Harold?
Oh, well, Harold began coming to Fanny's when I started there about a year ago. It looked like he didn't have much money, but he was always able to pay. It was funny. I felt like he was looking right through me while I was dancing. It was as if he knew something about me that nobody else knew.
You see a lot of interesting characters here in Vegas. Somehow, though, Harold was different.
Last night, I didn't wait for Preston to close the show. I dressed quickly and walked back to my place. Fanny's isn't in the best part of town, but I'm careful. If you know what you're doing when you walk alone, no one will be able to follow you home.
And you'll never walk alone. Sorry, I got carried away.
Well, it's not surprising that Harold got hit by a car. He was always in the streets at night. And the accident was right in front of the Labaccio, too. What a coincidence, huh?
I pick up a lot of customers at the Labaccio, and I see a lot of expensive sports cars there. I'm not surprised that's where it happened.
Does that sound familiar, Bill Billions?
Well, let me say one more time. Howdy, ya all! If you know Texas Hold'em, then you know me. Some of you probably even read my best-selling book, Bet Billions. I didn't tell you all my secrets in there, but if you read it, you'll learn a lot about poker. Up until recently, you know, it was me driving by because of that expensive Lamborghini of mine. Well, I don't have it now. Let's just say it's in for a little adjustment, so to speak. But I'll have it back soon. It's not far away.
A lot of our customers at the Labaccio arrive in luxury cars and leave in smart cars. Sound familiar, Bill?
No, well, not really. Until I get my car back, I might use a limousine to get from place to place. With those tinted windows and plush seats, it would be hard to spot me. But you'll never know when the door of a limo will open up and I'll pop out. Howdy, ya all.
Or someone else will. But my lips are sealed.
I haven't entered any poker World Series events in the last year, especially the ones at the Labaccio. You might say I hit a dry spell, but there are reasons for it. I'll be back. Just wait and see. There's plenty of them places in town to make a living playing cards. I miss the people at the Labaccio just as much as I miss the poker. Some people more than others.
Get over it, Bill.
So don't look for Wild Bill Billions to ride off into the sunset anytime soon. My dry spell may have come to a sudden end.
It seems that a lot of the action in town takes place at the Lobaccio. You know a lot about that, don't you, Deborah Down? What do you have to say?
Well, I've been dealing blackjack there for about 18 months, ever since I arrived in Las Vegas. I used to work in Atlantic City, but I was attracted to the bright lights here. And luckily, I've been able to have a friend who told me what to expect. And I've made new friends while I've been here. Lisa Ride and I, we spend a lot of time together when we're not working, and she drives big limos, but I walk to work. It only takes about 15 minutes, and I can see a lot more of the city on foot than I can in a car.
That may be true, Deborah, but my customers know exactly where they want to go. My job is to get them there quickly.
Lisa will only say so much. After all, her customers expect her to be discreet. She privately tells me what she thinks I should know and nothing more. It's fun to walk past the small show lounges, the pawn shops, the souvenir stores selling gambling equipment and Western gear.
Everybody loves a cowboy hat.
Yeah, but those souvenir shops sell cheap stuff. I only sell quality merchandise.
Oh, it's Harold we want to hear about. What do you know about him?
No, well, Harold never came into the Lobaccio, at least not that I can recall. I do know, though, that a lot of people here aren't who they say they are or who they appear to be. Keep that in mind. That could be important.
You said quality merchandise upon it. How can you be sure of that?
Look, I never know what people are going to try to pawn, but I run a high-class place. It's amazing what they bring to the pawn palace to try and get a few dollars. Most of them have lost a bundle gambling and trying to find some more cash. Some of them are just trying to get rid of something that they don't want or brings back bad memories.
Vegas is full of bad memories, for sure.
If you've never been to my shop, come on, stop in. You'll be amazed by the unique items you get at the Pawn Palace. We have everything from jewelry to exotic motor vehicles, almost anything else in between.
What does that have to do with Harold?
Well, yeah, Harold had been coming down into my shop for about a year. Most of the time, he just, look at the jewelry cases and then walk away. If I told him to leave, he'd pull out a few bills and buy something small. Look, pawn shop is my life. My pop started it 35 years ago, and I inherited it. I don't know what I would do if I had to sell it. I just hope that day never comes, no matter how much pressure someone might try to apply. Anyway, if you want to catch a good, inexpensive show in Vegas, I highly recommend Fanny's Show Lounge. Fanny and I have been friends for a long time, and I, help her out.
Lisa Ride, you own one of the best-known limo companies in town. What do you have to say about this?
I really can't say too much. My slogan is, what happens with Lisa stays with Lisa. That's one of the reasons I made sure all of my limousines have those dark tinted windows. Many of my customers don't want other people to know where they're going. A lot of very rich people use Lisa's limos when they're in Las Vegas because of my white glove service. If they're satisfied, they're big tippers. I have a lot of repeat business. Some of them specifically ask for me to drive them, even though I have other drivers.
Lisa is the best. Everyone wants to ride with her.
Thanks, Deborah. It's nice of you to say that. I've been interested in cars for as long as I can remember. My father used to own a car dealership that sold some expensive sports cars. It was thanks to him that I started my limo business.
You must have known Harold.
When you get around the city as much as I do, you know everybody. After all, Harold was almost a legend in the city. But I'm able to separate my business from my personal life. I'm always ready to help a good friend, especially when I'm really needed. One thing I know is that you can learn a lot about people if you just ask the right questions. That's all I'll say, unless you have something very specific you need to know.
Well, intriguing details. And now we must get to work. Here's what we'll do. All of you will be sent to rooms where you'll work together in teams to attempt to solve this case. You'll have a few minutes to talk to each other and analyze what you've heard. Then I'll send a suspect to your team, and you'll have about 5 minutes to question that suspect. After I remove the suspect from that room, you'll have a minute or so to discuss what you've learned. We'll do this until your room has had a chance to question all of the suspects. Keep in mind that you'll need to determine 3 things to solve this case: motive, means, and opportunity. Unmute your mics and meet your teammates. Hey, happy sleuthing. Well, and your sleuthing associates will discover that no matter where they are in the world, they can examine the twists and turns of murder mysteries that will even let them question the suspects and work together to solve a case via Zoom. It's the perfect way to connect during this period of social distancing. They'll be social while still maintaining their distance. We'll find out more at www.murdermysteryparties.us. Then let me organize an event that will get you an abundance of kudos and be talked about for years to come. Happy sleuthing and many mysterious regards as you book your one-of-a-kind
Who done it?
Done it.
Good job. Good job, gang. Good job.